because we have to know that delicate line between individualism and the collectivism and maintain that balance. The most important thing is to create that system. I think Americans, they try to create that system. Even if you are encouraged to bring their uniqueness, you are also expected, for example, to give your talent, your life to your country. For example, if you go to the military, you are encouraged. There are some benefits, some credits, some incentives for you to sacrifice yourself, to commit yourself to protect the common good of your community. So likewise, communal cultures like ours in Africa, Asia, and also in South America, we should find a way to allow individuals to bring their uniqueness, their best. That's good to the community itself, but at the same time we should find also ways to give incentive for people also to sacrifice, to commit themselves for the collective good. Because of time, let's move on, because I was wondering why African immigrants are not influencing, for example, the media, the corporate world, politics. Maybe we'll talk about when we talk about how to, if you have any suggestion in this regard. But let's move into the what question. My first question is about what makes America unique. I mean, there are great countries in the world. Why America is unique? And there are great things other countries can provide to immigrants. Yes. But what makes America unique?
I think the foundational thesis of this nation makes it great. As I say, the relationship of man with God has been clearly defined in the founding legal documents of this country. And what it means is all men are equal. That's a great thesis, right? And two, as I say, your rights are not something given by X or Y to you. That's why the world is suffering now. There are people who think they give you their life. Your life to you. No, that's not true. God gives you life. God gives you the liberty to live in this world. God gives you the right to enjoy the world and be happy. But the foundational thesis of this country is there are these inalienable rights given to
the individual.
Exactly. From that flows, as I try to mention it in my book, there are 4 different dimensions I mentioned. From that flows the opportunities. Then everybody feels like I have a talent to use because I'm free, I can exercise to go work and show my talents. Those opportunities will come out. They're not bounded by who you are, whether you are from this gender, that or that race, does not matter. That opportunity comes out. Theoretical, it could be, well, the practical side of it has its own issues, as I say. When this thing is there, then everybody says, you know what, I can do this in my country, but there is also a better. Take the case of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He came from the West, he's from Austria. But he came to this country because he thought this country would give him better opportunities than his own country. Well, he came to this country, he manifested his skills as a bodybuilder. Of course, we know him as an actor. And then, well, by lucky star, he was married to one of the famous families, the Kennedy family. And he became the governor of California. From Austria, he came to become the governor of one of the biggest state of this country. Why the country gives that kind of opportunity? And take the case of Madeleine Albright. She's an immigrant from Czechoslovakia, but she came here to become a Secretary of State eventually. She was the first Secretary of State. So this kind of wide latitude that allows you to succeed is one great magnetic thing. The foundational document said it, then what has transpired since to give you this, to become who you are without being bounded, at least as it is given the foundational document, that's a great attraction, it's a great magnet.
I think I agree with you because the individual has these God-given rights. And this country endorses that this country protects that. That's why people around the world, even if they have some relative freedom, they prefer to come here because this is kind of natural environment to humans, because as humans we have this liberty given by God. We are unique. We are endowed by so many rights because we are created by Him in His image. So the United States provides that environment for a man, the individual, to flourish. Another unique feature I know is also that the country, especially for immigrants, is that the country is also built by immigrants. So there is a very strong reason for this country to embrace other immigrants into this country. I can also keep on mentioning, like, this country has invented so many great technologies, including the internet. It was discovered and invented by the United States military. I can keep on mentioning GPS and so on and so on, NASA, so many inventions. And this country is also a country where if you work hard, you can be great. You can bring your greatness, because it's very difficult in some countries where the system, the taxing system, the naturalization system doesn't allow you to flourish and become great. But in this country, if you work hard and keep on working hard, you could be able to succeed compared to other countries.
Yes, I think the system kind of gives wider latitude. I mean, there are mature civilizations like the England, European nations. They have been there before this country, and but there is a welfare state that simply kind of limit you in terms of how you can try your talents and stuff. And many people consider the American opportunity as a great opportunity. I remember I worked with someone who came from Canada. She applied for a green card, and I asked her why should she apply for a green card, and she said, I get better opportunity to work here. Peter Jennings was a great caster, ABC News. He was from Canada finally just before he passed away. He took his citizenship, and he said he thought this country is a better country for him. So we can mention even people from the West coming. It's not just Africans, or it's not from Asians. People come here because there are entrepreneurial opportunities that they may not get in their own land. Intel was founded by someone who come from Europe because this country gave him the opportunity much more. Well, there are other factors for him to come, but Andrew came here and he created or invented the chips that are now the foundation for the success of Intel, that's the computer company, the IT company. So we can mention cases where people come here to succeed because this country offers that.
By the way, I'm grateful to be in the United States, because even for some of my writings or some of the programs that I have done, if I was in Ethiopia, I would have been jailed, maybe charged as terrorist. I have some friends, like Andola Maragi, he's my friend. I know he's not a terrorist, he's not a violent man. I know him very closely. But he was charged as a terrorist in his own country, because in your own country, your free thoughts are not allowed to be entertained. You can't really speak freely in your country, but you can speak here. Nobody stopped me in the past more than 9 years, stopped me and asked me whether I'm legal in this country. But if I were in Ethiopia, I believe that because of my writing, because of my positions, I believe that I might have been not only stopped, maybe jailed. So this country is a great country, that because, in our culture, sometimes we love something, but we don't express it. Even some people we admire them, and we truly admire them publicly and celebrate them when they die. So while we are in America, we're lucky. This is a great nation that provided us this opportunity, the opportunity that our country couldn't be able to give us. We have to really express our gratitude and appreciate the system, because if you don't appreciate it, you can't really tap into it. So my next question is, okay, we're not saying that America is perfect. No. We're not saying that there is no problem. So let's talk about what America lacks, which other countries have.
I think that's where we have to bring this. I think we're not just recipients of what America offers. I think we come from an ancient civilization, a great civilization in its own right. And when we come here, we also have something to give. I think Ethiopia has a great spiritual resources that the world may not have. Like the Book of Enoch has never been in its full content in any other country but Ethiopia. The civilization of Aksum, in the Heaven churches of Lalibela, all those we can bring us traditions that the world, those things were done there before America was here. So those are things that we bring with us. And with what has come, governance wasn't something foreign to Ethiopians. Moses learned what he had to do with Israelites from his father-in-law, and we claim the father-in-law Yotor has an Ethiopian root. I think all civilizations has their own unique nature. So there is, when we come here, we are ambassadors to our own country. We have to always keep that. So there are things that are missing in this country. The civilization is not as mature as other civilizations, like the Chinese civilizations go back 5,000 years, the Indian civilization, and even the European. So there are some things that this country has to learn from other civilizations too. And also the fact that slavery has its own major drawbacks on this country because it has been there for a long time, and its repercussions keep trickling even today. What we see in Missouri, just shooting a black man while he's barehanded without, and what we see in other parts, and the attitude about black men is something that follows. It shows the shortcomings of this country. In my book, I saw it as the inertia of the system. There are great inertia points that has to be yet dealt with, because even if the foundation documents say everybody is equal, there is undercurrent of racism, the undercurrent of discrimination that is going. So the ceiling could be there. Even women today are paid 75 cents for every dollar that a man is paid. That's an issue, an inertia point that the system has to deal with. So there are issues and problems that the nation has to deal with, and also some things, excesses that come from its own successes. I mean, the empire. I mean, it's still necessary to know why the kind of issues against the Islamic world comes. That's also maybe part of the empire building process that this nation has taken, expanding all over the world. And so these are the kind of limitations that the civilization has its own.
Yeah, and also there are great systems or opportunities somewhere else, because we're not saying that the United States is the only country that immigrants could be able to benefit. Yes, this is a great country, but other countries can offer also something. Like, for example, in Europe, some countries, they offer free health insurance, free education, and so on, compared to that kind of system, because in the United States, you're the one to pay for your health, for your education, and so on and so forth. So yes, America, with this all incompleteness or imperfections, this is the country that is great for immigrants compared to other countries.
Yes. I think it is important that we have to be truthful to the time. I think for millions to come to this country has been offering what it has, and that's why we have to be thankful. And I think I gave that as one reason why I should write. I think this country offered us great, amazing opportunities to many immigrants, but equally so, we should be able to know the inner words that we have, that we bring from our land. So that's something that we need to emphasize.
And also we need to talk about the challenges immigrants are facing, because yes, African immigrants, we're not tapping into the American system, but there are acceptable or understandable challenges. And we need to talk a little bit about what are the true and the hard challenges that are facing African immigrants.
Well, first of all, as I say, I have mentioned it many times, the historical background of the nation has its own reasons that an European may not face the same challenge as an African is, because the country had special historical issues related with Africans. That's one important thing to know. And second, like any immigrant, there is a learning curve that we have to go through to join the mainstream. There will be challenges. This country prefers degree holders from its own land than from Europe. So that's the challenge. The kind of visa or status you have matters. You cannot be as successful in finding a job as a resident as compared to a citizen. This is also a challenge. But critical factor is you have to push, you have to be proactive yourself, you have to push, you have to go, you have to learn the system, you have to know, you have to be engaged into the political system, you have to be proficient language-wise, you have to learn the language and intentionally join the mainstream to succeed. You know, there are opportunities, by the way. One thing that we suffer from is lack of information. Education in this country, you could learn probably by borrowing, by getting grant and scholarship, and that you have to have the kind of information you need, where to apply, what to find, the kind of fellowships that you find from the government, the kind of grants you get from different private institutions. You have to be tuned to it. Economic opportunities. There are different centers built around by the government to help you establish yourself as a business person, to get microloans or to get different kind of resources. You have to know that, but you have to be inquiring. You have to have an inquisitive mind. What is offered in this country? By the way, one thing I always enjoy is a kind of educational system. I mean, every 5 miles you would find a library somewhere to go and sit and read. Or there is a bookstore to go and sit down the whole day and read if you want to. That's a resource, available resource. You have to take advantage. I did take advantage of that, I think, because there are libraries wherever I go. I spend my time there. I spend in Barnes and Nobles or here and there where those opportunities are. These are opportunities.
Yeah. So now we're talking about the how. I mean, how African immigrants could be able to tap into the American system. You're mentioning about we have to be empowered information-wise. We have to educate ourselves, seek grants, and so on. Can you add some more? What, especially in terms of how? Because if you see African immigrants, they are not that much influential when it comes to, they don't influence as much politicians, the media, and so on, because we're not coordinating, we're not organizing ourselves very well, because we can't really expect something good to benefit from the system if we don't organize, if we don't air our concerns, if we don't tap into the opportunities as a community.
I think what we need to do is to know how the system works. Lobbying is part of business in this country. You have to lobby to get resources, for example. So we see the Hispanic coming together and having their strong advocacies to get something from the government, for example. K Street is a place where you find lobbyists, and you have to have people to advocate for you. I think we're getting better in these days because we try to kind of find someone to speak for us in Congress on behalf of Ethiopian political situation, stuff like that. But that has to be done. We have to come together as people and create advocacy groups to affect the political process and engage in the political system itself. I think we can be elected officials in this country. Why not? We can, but for that to happen, we got to know how the system works. Volunteering is part of the system, being part of the social media, and knowing that each other, when we band together, there is we got to come together and work together as Ethiopians. I think we have to transcend our differences and instead we come together and work for that common good. What is it that we can do to promote our African interest, our Ethiopian interest? And I think there are many good people who are trying to create that kind of environment. We should help them. We should come, when there are leaders coming out to say, hey guys, let's come together and work, do something for our own sake, to get our voice heard. Let's do that. There was a time an Ethiopian was killed last time, I think 2 years ago, on 9th Street, just in a very brutal way. And I was there part of to go to the mayor office, and the number of people who were there is not, as compared to what we live in this country, it's very limited. Why? Because our awareness level as to how we can affect the political process might not be that much developed. So we have to develop our awareness. We choose to come and live here, then we got to be part of the system. We got to work it out. We got to be living citizens, enjoy the system while working hard to be part of it and succeed like everyone else.
It's very important because, especially in Ethiopia, there are voiceless people. And the diaspora, we got this chance to live in this great country. We should be voices to the voiceless. But as you said, we're not that much powerful because we're not organizing ourselves, especially in the area of advocacy. Unless we organize ourselves and bring our power together to be voices to the voiceless, we can't really tap into the opportunity we have in the United States. We can lobby congressmen, lobby senators, and so on, but we're not doing that much. Of course, there are some efforts by a few Ethiopians, great activists, but the whole community, we have how many Ethiopians, even in the metro area, hundreds of thousands of Ethiopians, they live in and around the Washington metro area, the Washington DC metro area, and I think that's lacking from the diaspora.
That's true, and part of the reason is even our own inner cohesion is under question mark. We fight among each other, and our faction itself is keeping us busy. How is it that we can go out as a union and affect the outside process? So one important thing that we have to do is to find the power to transcend our issues. We are great people as a society, and we have to tap that greatness that is what we call, at least we know there is a documented 3,000 years of history that keeps us going even when the world is rough. And that resource that we have to tap it. I think the difference that we have is much less than the unifying points that we can bring together. We can unify. We have to have visionaries. We need visionary leaders, and we need visionary followers. People should follow too. There should be leaders, there should be followers, and we should have the common decency to say, you know what, the world is moving, and the kind of policies that we promote for ourselves is destructive. The world is trying to be, the globalization is leading us to accept someone to come and farm in Ilubabor with no problem. Then you push an Ethiopian because he's not from that place, because he's not Tigray or he's not Amaro, he's Oromo, he's pushed from one place. We allow people from Europe to come and have comfortably live and farm, do a lot of things with no problem because they are from outside. When we are Ethiopians, why should we push each other from here and there? And instead, I think we have to emphasize the unifying points that we have carried through our inheritance from our forefathers and come together as a people. That's how we bring Ethiopian greatness in the World Forum. So I think we have to work on ourselves to kind of leave out the petty things that we fight for. I have great things that we can promote in the world. Then, when we are one, then we'll have a voice to be heard. We can speak. That's why I would like to say it again. Derbe Abramba said, I don't think divided house can stand. It is one house with one spirit, and that can only stand to build the future Ethiopia.
Yeah. So far we have been talking about how we African immigrants and Ethiopian in the diaspora could be able to benefit from the American system. Let's talk about how the African immigrants and Ethiopian immigrants, diaspora, could be able to help the union in the United States. How can we contribute our share in terms of promoting the ideals of the United States?
Yes, that's a great thing.
We have been benefiting, okay? We have been receiving. Yeah. Why don't we give also?
I think we are giving. We have to see it half full. Why are we giving? Because to become here and become part of the society as a taxpayers, decent people paying taxes, building ourselves, but building this nation. This is a contribution we're making. I think to bring that great Ethiopian civilization that is flourishing, like in the 9th Street restaurants or the different cultural settings, our church, that's contribution. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is a great gift to the world because it has been there for the last 2,000 years. So we are giving already. I think what we have to do is how can we give more? How can we be even more stronger to be ambassadors to our people? And Africans all along, they have a lot to offer to the other world, and we Ethiopians specifically, we have a lot to offer too. So I think what we have to do is a perfect union is a vision of this nation in the future that is being built every day. Every living citizen contributes to that. We should contribute to it. There is this idea of unam. There is this. Let me take it. It is called the e pluribus unum. Is what it's a Greek, a Latin word to mean from many to one. This is a nation that is bundled together from many people, and we are part of that bundle that is shaping us one to become this, to build this country. There is a lot we can do. Awareness of the system. How does the government system work? Because there's check and balance between the three different branches of government. How does it work? How does the political system work? How can we become part of it? What is my role as a citizen? We have to ask that. And also to make sure that we there's a volunteer system where in the political campaigns, we have to be part of it. I think by becoming active, living citizens of this nation, we can contribute. And also, as I said, and I would say it again, we are great ambassadors of our people. The French bring their own culture, the Chinese do the same, the Koreans do the same. So we should represent. We are already doing it. We should be able to do it more.
I think that also benefits us back, because if we help the union, if we contribute our share, yes, as you said, we have been giving, but we have to give it more. In that case, we will have returns, because one thing I see that, for example, if we care about the issues that affect the United States, whether internal or external, if we embrace the problems that the United States is facing, now they also care and concern themselves about our issues, issues in Ethiopia and so on, because we can't always go out and ask them to influence the policy making process in Ethiopia, or help Ethiopians to be liberated from dictatorship or other natural disasters and so on. We have to also embrace and be concerned and be part of the challenges that the United States is facing. That way it becomes a win-win partnership.
I think we should contribute to this society because we're benefiting, we should benefit. As I said, we're already bringing at a macro level, our Ethiopianism is a great benefit to the world we're bringing. But more so, I think we Ethiopians should learn a great deal from what is going on in this country. I think we see a civil society functioning, growing, getting better every day. And we know it's a real problem that there is issues in the way our governance is structured. That's why they are fighting. There is why there is this political instability and a lot of people leaving the country, or maybe people in jail, journalists. Why is it that we cannot have a system? Why don't we learn from other world and do the same? I think we got to learn from this and contribute positively. What we learn here helps us to build our country too. As we bring something, we also need to take something from what we see in this country, because there are great things working in the way the social and the political system is working in this country, and we should be able to.
Yeah, whenever I had discussions with my diaspora friends from Africa and also from my own people, Ethiopians, sometimes we say, okay, let's say that democracy is prevalent in Ethiopia now or in Africa. How much technology, how much experience can we transfer if we go back to our country? Unless we engage ourselves, unless we involve, for example, politically, how much do we run for offices? Take offices, even run for Congress, run for council membership, and so on, involved in the American politics. And when the country becomes free, or when democracy prevails, then you can transfer the experience you have from this system to your country. The same, we have to go for corporate positions, we have to go for media positions and so on, because once our country is free and democracy prevails, then when we go back, we have something to give financially, technology-wise, experience-wise. But if we don't integrate ourselves and be influential in the American system and learn how the system works, we may not be able to transfer these when the opportunity comes for our country.
Yeah, I think for us Ethiopians to learn from it and also pass it to our own people, I think the challenge or the responsibility is greatly shouldered on two major parts, and then of course the people is always their active participants. The first one is the elite, the intellectual. The intellectual has its wisdom eye opened to see how this world functions. It should be part of the solution. I think one of the major contributing forces to the problem in our nation is the intellectual for not having the decency and the humility to know exactly what's expected of it. We cannot just always complain that it's not working. It is us who also are partly contributing to the problems that we have. So we have to ask us intellectuals, what is it that's not working in our country? So the intellectual has a great responsibility to shoulder in finding out, in asking itself, why is it that things we didn't succeed? We took socialism there. We took different kind of ideologies. We failed through. We kill each other. Why? The Ethiopian people deserve better. I think Ethiopians are very decent people. They followed what their leaders tell them, and many times they have been failed. So the intellectual has to ask this. And the second is the leaders. The leaders of the nation should challenge themselves instead of following their own individual paradigms. They have to ask, what is it that is good for the country today and tomorrow? How can we build a nation that can function? What do we learn from other civilizations in terms of political governance? That is a responsibility that the leaders of the nation has to do at all levels of the nation. And third and more important is, and always I think on this the people succeed, people are good followers. If the Ethiopian people follow their leaders, they have great trust they put, but many times they have been betrayed. So that has to be changed. So the challenge should be on the intellectual and the leaders of the nation to help the people come together and enjoy a better governance system. We have a great civilization. Ethiopia is a great nation that has been there, compared to China and India and Syria and all other great civilizations that have been there 1,000 years ago. What is it that we can do by learning from countries like the United States to give our people the best governance systems that the world can offer?
We had a wonderful discussion. Thank you very much,
Nice.
Abel,
Thank you for
on
having me.
behalf of ISAT and our viewers. I appreciate for you coming and discussing about this important topic on how African immigrants, including Ethiopians, could be able to benefit from this great system of Americanism.
Thank you very much.
Dear our viewers, thank you very much for watching. As you have been watching us, we have been discussing about the topic how African immigrants, including Ethiopians, could be able to tap into the American system. This is a great system, and we can only benefit and capitalize if we engage in this system. And we discussed that we need to learn, we need to know how the system works. Not only that, we have to be proactive and engage ourselves, enter into the system, and make changes. We also talked about what's going on, the challenges immigrants are facing, and also we talked about how immigrants, people in the diaspora, could be able to engage and transfer their knowledge, what they learn from the American system. Hope you enjoyed the discussion. I look forward to talk to you next time. Thank you.